So translating media, you mentioned your YouTube channel, and I can't remember exactly where I found it, but it was an interview with you talking about supporting faculty who are creating their own instructional media. And something I just kind of love to dive into, you mentioned encouraging faculty to stick with however they thrive in their delivery, whether that's, reading from a script, whether that's, going with an outline, or just, speaking off the cuff. So kind of a twofold question. So for faculty who are writing scripts, as you're supporting them, what seems to help make that script effective? And what guidance do you give for those faculty who are maybe more improvisational to kind of keep that media focused?
So the answer is actually the same, where it's going to be setting a goal for that video. What do you want someone to actually be able to watch this and then to take away with this new information? That's always should be our North Star, where we're trying to be able to go. And then we can work our way backwards, hence backward design. Use that for like literally everything, right? So it's just like figure out the goal and then let's break it down to different steps and keep on working our way backwards and essentially just reverse engineering this type of problem. And what I like to be able to do is when working with faculty is to really ask them about what makes them feel comfortable. And I ask that too, because for some people, they see the red light on the camera and they freeze up and they're not the same person and they're stuttering and they're sweating. And I'm like, what just happened? Like you were so calm and cool, collected 3 seconds ago. And the only thing I said was that it's now recording. And then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, you're super tense. And I've had to learn to become not just an instructional designer, but also in a sense of a type of a multimedia coach. I am literally coaching people on breathing techniques, on practicing, on basically being behind the scenes and saying, hey, that was great. Can we do another take? Or, hey, you said to me off camera about how you describe this, and you didn't say that in that video, but it was a really important point. Can we just try it again and add that? And for many people, they don't recognize the fact that you can just edit videos.
Yes.
But you do not need to do everything in one take. No one expects that. There's been one professor I've ever worked with that he did everything perfect. That's it. And clearly he's been doing it for years. He walked into the studio and he's just like, and he's like, all right, thanks guys. And like walks away. I was like, wow, that's a professional right there. But no one expects that. So it's also too, and something that I advise if they can be able to do so is that if you can get some time to practice to be able to figure out what makes you comfortable, rely on past experiences and being able to say that, like, yes, they use some scripts, they had some bullet points, or no, I got this. As long as we touch upon this point, we'll be fine. Whatever works for them. Because personally, I hate scripts, but that's me. That's not everybody. So I can't stand it. I hate when people sound like they're a robot, or the worst thing is that you can literally see their eyes tracking from this way and then reading like that. And then they go back like a typewriter. And I'm like, what? Yeah. Like, what do you do? So there's a way of doing that so that you don't have that problem. Like you can correct that. But if you don't do that, and you can read a script and still sound like a human being and still sound like you're comfortable as far as what you would do inside of the front of your classroom, I'm trying to replicate that, because now your classroom is not a physical classroom. Now it's everybody online, but they're all attending your class. So you're just talking to them now in a one-on-one sense, but it's still thousands upon thousands of people that you're trying to be able to teach to. So whatever is your style, we can adapt, modify, and make it work for you.
How do you find that sweet spot behind we don't have to get this in one take. We have the power of video editing. I'm also reminded of one wonderful faculty member, but he mentioned going through the video and cutting out every single time they stuttered or said and knowing kind of that sweet spot of knowing we have the tools available, but also recognizing this is going to work. As it is.
Yeah, great question. You want to be able to make sure that people also understand too that the more realistic it is, the better, in a sense. No one expects you to be perfect. I think it's actually really weird when people edit their podcasts and they remove breaths. Like, that's a normal thing. Delete the breath before. And I know it's a comment. I was like, but that's odd. It sounds like no one is taking time to absorb information and then to think about what they're going to say next. It's just thrown at you so quickly. It's to me, it's super weird. So I don't like that. But that's what I want to be able to get across for them, is that Yeah. If your eyes tend to wander, or if you're struggling to find the word and it comes to you, that's normal. That's a class. That's teaching. It does not need to be, as I mentioned about Mark Rober, if his like 20 million subscribers, you're not that guy. Like you're not. It's okay. You're not a YouTuber. It's okay. You're a teacher.
Yeah.
So that's what we want. And once again, the power of editing is insane. You can edit anything. I mean, it's remarkable. There has been some times where I worked with people where they just didn't have it. And one of the things that I like to be able to tell my faculty members is that it is okay for us to be able to say, you know what? Today wasn't the day. Mm-hmm. Take a break, go to bed, do your thing, let's try again tomorrow. Because that happens. There are some times that people are like, I'm not ready. I'm not prepared. I don't know what I'm doing, or I only have like one idea. Or I've had some person come in where they're like, yeah, I just flew in this morning. Like, cool. Did you sleep? Like, no, I just came right to the studio. I'm like, like, man, like this isn't going to go well. Like, I admire your commitment to be here. And if we're in a time crunch, like, yes, thank you for being here. You gotta appreciate that fact, but also appreciate the fact that the person's a human being. And that I know that if you get 6 to 7 hours of sleep, it's going to be such a better video compared to you on 2 hours of sleep and a Red Bull. It's just not the same.
Yep. So, Red Bull can only do so much.
It's only so magical.
Join us for part 3 as Luke talks about creating podcasts as instructional media.